Welcome to Module 7 of Self-Employed School. We're covering online marketing, also known as digital marketing. The top digital marketing questions tend to be, what should I post? What should I share in my emails? Basically anything related to content creation. There's a saying that every company is a media company. What that means is instead of relying on one channel like advertising or even just a website, it's more effective to opt for a cross-platform approach. And nowadays, it's actually necessary. Modern businesses advertise, have a website, email list, and presences on multiple social media platforms, and some also blog or have a podcast. An interesting study conducted by Sounds Profitable found that 68% of consumers are more willing to consider a product after hearing about it on a podcast, 62% on YouTube, 61% on social media, and 54% on TV. But utilizing multiple platforms doesn't have to be time-consuming, and you don't have to be on all of them. We'll help you determine which channels are best for your business later in this module, but in this lesson, we're focusing on content creation and how to do it efficiently. In this lesson, we're also going to help you figure out what to post, but here's my opinion on how often. Our social media news feeds can be refreshed on demand, which can lead to pressure to post frequently. Many social media gurus recommend multiple times daily. I don't subscribe to that mindset. Unless you're an influencer or your business reaches a global audience, you don't need to be on social media as much as everyone's telling you to. You can have a successful business without thousands of followers and high engagement. More on that in the social media lesson of this module. But even if you're just posting a few times a week, it can still be a lot to create quality content on the regular, no matter what regular is for your business. Which is why I'm all for recycling, both waste and content. The first rule of recycling is that you can post the same main piece of content across all channels. The key is to optimize it for each channel. For example, let's say you publish a blog post on your website. Include an excerpt in your email newsletter, a short quote in a tweet on Twitter/X, and include key points in a carousel of graphics on Instagram. Note that the first rule is to recycle main pieces of content. There are long-form pieces of content such as podcasts and blogs. Short-form pieces of content vary depending on the channel. For example, Instagram has a stories feature, which is excellent for sharing less formal posts. I've included the posting strategy lessons from my now retired Facebook Facelift and Instagram Insight courses on the lesson page. These videos cover specific features found on these channels and what to post on each. The second rule of content recycling is to send your viewers back to the main piece of content, which should be on your website. Whether it's a blog post or podcast, make sure you have a version that's embedded on your website. Remember, we want to lead people to your website where you build connections and make sales. The third rule of content recycling is to reuse content you've already created. People aren't likely to work with you the first time they see your offer. According to the rule of 7, it takes an average of 7 times for people to hear about your business or offer before they commit to it, which also applies to content. People may not see your content the first time, they may not have paid attention, or they may need it presented in a new way to better understand it. This means it's okay to reshare a blog post, recycle a piece of content you've already created into something new, and share your offer multiple times. Because not only does the rule of 7 come into play, but so do social media algorithms and inbox filters. Not everyone is going to see your social media post, and while everyone will receive your email, some may not open it if their inbox is full, or the email is sent to the dreaded promotions tab in Gmail, or worse, spam. You can get the same results from reused content that you can from its original piece. Now let's discuss the types of content that you could or should be creating. You're in business, which means you're selling something. Whether it's a product or service, the objective of marketing is to sell that offer. But while it's counterintuitive, it's best to post your offer once out of every 4 or 5 posts. This relates to the 95-5 rule, which states that generally at any given moment, only 5% of the audience you're reaching is in the market for your product, meaning they're actively looking to buy what you sell. Which means that 95% are not. They're either not in the market yet, have what you offer, or never needed what you offer in the first place. So if you promote hard in all of your posts and emails, you'll turn off a bunch of people. Because remember, a good portion of that 95% could turn into customers in the future, so you want to keep them around. This doesn't mean don't talk about your offers in other posts. It means don't go hard sales on every single post. People will stop paying attention. Your other posts, while they may include your offer in the imagery or caption, should either educate, entertain, or empower. Let's cover a few examples of each. Educate is the main form of content I share on my platforms. Because I teach online business and marketing courses, the majority of my posts educate viewers on business and marketing. If the topic is directly related to an online course, I'll include "to learn more about X" and roll in my name of online course either in the reel, caption, or both. Yes, I'm giving away information for free. But what it does is position me as an expert and being on camera builds a connection with my audience. It also allows them to understand how I roll and my teaching style so they'd be more likely to enroll in one of my online courses. I'm not sharing everything I know about marketing. Instead, I'm sharing snippets that entice people to want more. To get a sense of what people are asking about in your industry, here are some tools. First up is Answer Socrates, which shows what people are asking about various topics. Just enter a keyword relevant to your target audience and you'll receive a list of relevant search terms, which can also be helpful to finding your SEO keywords. Next, YouTube, where people literally go to learn. Search your relevant keywords to find popular videos, then head to the comments to see the questions people are asking. Reddit also offers forums on a range of topics. Head to your industry and see what people are asking. Same for Facebook groups. Google it. Seriously, Google autocomplete shows the popular searches related to what you're typing. To clarify, when you start typing a question, Google will try to guess what you're going to ask by filling in popular inquiries starting with what you've already typed. You can also check out your competitors to see what they're creating or what questions their following is asking. Add your own take on the situation so you're not ripping them off. Understanding what your target audience is asking, as well as their concerns, and using your content to address that makes for super engaging educational type content. Not only will you avoid the "what do I post" dilemma, you'll be positioning yourself as an expert in your field, and people want to work with experts. Now, this type of education may not apply to your industry, but what you can do is educate people about your offer. How does it work? What are the features? How does it benefit them? Behind the scenes posts also apply to educate. As for entertainment, the main purpose of these posts is to make your audience laugh or relate. Memes are popular, reels set to popular music, and day in the life are examples of entertaining content. Just make sure it relates to your industry or offer. A great way to find inspiration for entertainment content is to pay attention to both macro and micro trending topics or current events. Macro trends are the topics that a wider population would know or care about. Think pop culture such as a Super Bowl halftime show, anything Kardashian, and the latest hit TV show. However, you have to make sure to connect the conversation to your business. Micro trends are easier to work with because they take place within a certain niche or industry. They may not be cool to the mainstream, but they resonate with your target audience. Use macro trends for reaching a wider audience, attracting new people to your brand, or just connecting with your followers, but don't overdo it. Opt for micro trends, which are even better at boosting engagement since they more relate to your followers and can attract people in your target market. Be cautious when hopping on a trend as it can backfire or tarnish your brand. If a trend is off taste, it could upset people, think twice. As for empowering content, this lights a fire under your followers and helps them overcome whatever is holding them back from taking an action related to your industry. In my business, I want to empower others to actually start a business, so I address the pain points of not enough time, money, and perfectionism. In addition to content that educates, entertains, or empowers, small business owners can also post about brand or content pillars. A content pillar may not directly relate to your business, but it's a tie-in. If you're a solopreneur, your content pillars can be personal interests. For me, that's simple living, environmental consciousness, wellness, snippets of my life, and cats. A content pillar can also be a cause you support. Content pillars enhance your brand and give you something to connect to your audience with. And because you are a small business owner, especially if you're a solopreneur, you want your audience to connect with you. So infuse your interests into your pillars. You'll notice that I haven't said you must be in front of the camera for posts. While being on camera, whether in a photo or video, can help your audience develop a knowing and connection with you, it's not essential. You can still be successful on social media without starring in your posts. The key is consistency. Pick a frequency and post consistently, which we'll cover more in the social media lesson of this module. One social media thing we're going to cover now, however, is captions. They tend to be an afterthought to so many people, and they really shouldn't be. Your words are what connect you to your audience. It's also how your brand personality shines through. Instead of telling your followers about your product, write how it will make their lives easier or more enjoyable. If you're writing a longer caption, especially an education one, include a 1 to 2 sentence summary at the end. This helps get your message across and makes it more likely for people to comment. Because they don't want to reread a lengthy caption to understand what was written. They'll likely appreciate the post and keep scrolling, leading to a conversation drop-off. Summarizing your captions makes it easy for people to immediately jump into the comment section, which is excellent for engagement. And always end your captions with a call to action, whether it be a question for your followers or a link in bio to promote an offering or blog post. Little side note here, people are more likely to visit your link if you DM it to them. This is why you'll see comment, start a business, or other relevant word, and I'll DM you the link. You can use a software like ManyChat to automate this or send the links manually. The other benefit of the DM method is that the more comments on your Instagram post, the more engagement it will receive. If I'm linking to an offer, however, I'll do both. I'll mention that there's a link in bio, or my audience can comment a word and I'll send the link to their DMs. Some people don't want to comment or open their DMs to people they don't know, so especially for an offer, I like to make sure there are multiple ways to find it. Not all of your calls to action have to be sales oriented. Writing a comment or signing up for your email list count as calls to action, as does asking your audience a question. Them commenting an answer is a call to action. Before we conclude this lesson, let's discuss the creator economy. It's a $250 billion a year industry, and already Goldman Sachs is predicting that will double by 2027. What this means is that consumers have shifted from following brands to following people, which is why influencers are all the rage. And it's an area where small businesses have the edge. People want to support people, not big corporations. This is why it's so effective to show yourself, your employees, and even your customers in your marketing. As a bonus, people usually love being featured and will continue to support your business as a result and share the post with their friends, word of mouth marketing. Just make sure to have anyone who's featured in a photo or video sign a model release. I've linked to a template from the legal page on the main lesson page. The photos you post don't have to be professional. iPhone cameras have come a long way. Just make sure your photos are in focus, well lit, and represent your product well. To summarize, here's a list of posting ideas. People want to know who it is behind the business. Use #Friday introduction on Instagram. Teasers of what's to come, because what you reveal causes excitement, what you conceal heightens interest. New products or offers, product or offer features, testimonials, photos of client with the product or after the service, like a before and after. Lifestyle photos of your product, behind the scenes, news and awards, sales, cancellations, and availability. That concludes our lesson on content creation. In the next lesson, we'll discuss why email is the most effective form of online marketing and how you can take advantage of that without feeling like it's one more thing to do. We're all about ease here. I'll see you there.